caminho de algum Iaçá. Lá tem samba até de manhã, uma giga em cada andar. O meu lugar é cercado de luta e suor, esperança num mundo melhor e cerveja pra comemorar. O meu lugar tem seus mitos e seres de luz, é bem perto de Oswaldo Cruz, Cascadura vai no Pirajá. O meu lugar é sorriso, é paz e prazer, o seu nome é doce dizer, Madureira. Welcome. Bom dia. Charles Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another bright idea. Welcome to Aspire Beast Council, our deal analysis for the Aspire Investing group. Thank you for joining me here today. We are going to analyze some deals, but I do have some information I just want to share about what's going on with us. We have recently created a new Facebook page, and we'll be creating some new Instagram page as well. We're just, not necessarily rebranding, but just making sure that you guys understand, and gals, everything that we are providing and going through. And I want to share some of that right now. So obviously every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, we have our lunch and learn where we'll be going through deal analysis. So for our, our lions and that are getting starting, our lion cubs, and our lion scouts, just making sure that understanding how a deal analysis goes, using the Aspire calculator that we created, because it just formulates everything to help you better understand of how you should be looking at things, what information you need to gather, what deals, what strategies, does this deal meet your strategy, and things of that nature. Every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we have the Beast Council podcast, where we're going to be trying to use some of the education and knowledge that we have and giving that to you, having guests on, speaking with investors that are currently doing what you might be aspiring to or already doing, but know you aspire to do it better. We're bringing those people on. I'm trying to get one of my current clients right now. We got a project going on currently where we are going have a current project right now, and this was his first deal in Wisconsin. He's an out-of-state investor out of Illinois, and I want to try to get him on it, just get his perspective. He already has some investments, but this is the first time where he's building out his team, building out, buying out of state, and wanting to build that life where he's aspiring to wanting to improve, his lifestyle and, possibly want to do this full time. So I definitely want to bring him on, and that's where the podcasts are. So those are things that we will be using for when we have our guests on, to our monthly meetups, which that brings me into the next thing that we do every month. The second Wednesday of the month, we have our monthly meeting where we come to our headquarters here at Next Home My Way, which I want to give a big shout out to Next Home My Way, the team and organization where I have my broker license and where I'm allowed to put on this amazing, which, let me go right there. I want to just give a big shout out to Next Home My Way for allowing me to put this on here. Thank you again, Angel, Carlos, and Jose, for allowing me to use the media room to put on these webinars to educate you guys and help build my brand and help showcase their brand. So if you're an agent, broker that is interested, you just got your license, you're interested in looking for a brokerage to join, Next Home My Way, I believe is one of the up and coming brokerages in Wisconsin. We're making some noise. We're growing. And if you are inspiring to be a broker or a real estate agent, or you currently are and you feel stuck, please give us a call. I'm on the leadership team as well. I am the director of agent development here at Next Home My Way. So we would be getting acquainted on helping you build your real estate business from that standpoint. But always want to give them a big shout out. And because they allow me to run Raise the Standard under their brokerage, allowing me to bring my business here. So I'm always grateful for them. They're allowing me to run Aspire from here. I'm allowed to have my monthly meetings here in the conference room. So I don't think Aspire would be at where it is right now if we did not have the ability to have our meetings here. We've been consistently doing it for over a year and a half now, and it's all because of Angel and the team here allowing me to use this space to have a home for us. So big shout outs to them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll go into my company later when we wrap it up, but just want to give them the big shout out. To continue on, like I said, the second day of every month, we have our monthly meetings here. So first meeting is free. If you bring someone, we'll definitely allow you another free meeting until you have to decide on being part of the membership. We have a school, and so that's where you would go. Aspire School or school/Aspire is where you'll find us. And that's where we house all our educational content, where our paid members go and to get more information to, take our conversations that are on our Facebook and Instagram deeper, because obviously we have paid content. We have paid members in there. Those are where some deals are getting done, where deals are being shared. So, if you are wanting to get a deeper dive into the Southeastern Wisconsin community here and obviously start building relationships in other areas and getting that content, getting that information, feel free to DM me, reach out to me, and I can get you hooked up to that, or Devin, our other co-creator of Aspire. With that, we have the 90-day Aspire cohort, where basically from 0 to 90 days, you got 3 outcomes. One, you have a business plan for when you get pre-approved and when you have your capital, from start to finish of when you are analyzing deals, to picking a strategy, to figuring out your why, to running deals analysis, finding your team, finding your lender, finding your agent, finding your contractor, finding your property manager, finding your other vendors like plumbers, electricians, and all those things, and actually finding a deal, right? So the first phase is that you're going to have a framework. Maybe you weren't able to get pre-approved and maybe you don't have the capital, but now you have the framework of, hey, once I get a deal under contract and close, I know every step I need to do to, after closing, what I need to start doing. The second, you are pre-approved, you have the down payment, you're going to be accepted offer or on that way, because we have all the information we need. We're building your strategy. We're building everything up. Now it's just finding a deal that fits you and helping you push through that. Right? It's not about just finding any deal, it's finding the deal for you to do. And I feel like that if you go through the 90-day program, that is definitely going to be one of the results if you have the capital and you have pre-approval. The third one is you've already got an accepted offer, you already closed, but now you know what you need to do after closing, right? Now this may be your first rehab, maybe this is your first fix and flip, maybe this is your first BRRRR. Now you know the steps afterwards. Now we'll give you these things to help you set up, help you understand everything you need to get accomplished so that you can get to the next deal, right? Because in some of my videos, if you follow me on Instagram, the closing of the deal is the starting line, right? I think everyone gets so caught up with deal analysis and you do all these things to get to the deal. And when you finally close, people want to take a deep breath, but that's when everything actually starts, right? That's when actually the fix and flip happens. That's everything that what we're doing right now on this paper. Now we have to do it in real life, right? Now the estimate for the roof, now we have to put that in play, right? Now we have to do all these things that were on paper, right? And they wasn't real, but now we have to make them real. So that's what that 90-day cohort does. And obviously, all these things are supposed to be building on each other, because at the end of the day, this Aspire movement is about execution, right? It's about planning and execution. It's about understanding what we need to do to execute the plan, right? It's all about execution. It's all about what can I do to move forward? What can I keep doing to keep moving this thing forward so that we can accomplish the ultimate goal, and that is build a real estate investment business, right? This is not buying one property is not buying a real estate investment business. That's in itself, that is a business, but that's not our goal. Our goal is not to buy one and sit there. Our goal is to buy one, do the things that we need to do to force their appreciation, get the money out, and go get the next deal. So if you're looking at different strategies, like just simple buy and hold, or looking to just acquire something that's already running well and I can start just collecting rent, this is not necessary for that. We're trying to recycle our capital. We're trying to get the next deal. We're trying to raise capital to find the next deal, right? We found the deal. Now we got to raise the capital to put the money in the deal, fix it up, doing better. Now we need to pull that money out so we can go get the next deal. Or it's raising funds for that deal, put it in that deal. Now we're raising funds to go get the next deal. But we are constantly trying to recycle the capital to go get the next deal. And that might be recycling the capital, saying, hey, we got money in this deal. Let's go raise funds to bring new investors into this deal so that we can use that money to go get the next deal. And, maybe we sacrifice the the monthly cash flow that we would be getting to give a little bit to someone else. So for example, let's say you're getting $1,000 out of a property. I'm supposed to be getting 700 of it, right? This is all cash flow. Well, what if I give $500 to a new investor who wants that $500 a month, and they give me 30,000 a day, and I say, hey, here's $500 a month for the next 5 years. Well, that's 30,000. Well, 15. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Future cash flow versus present, cash flow, right? Future, I mean, you're going to make 50,000 over this period of time. Give me 30,000 a day, right? That's the goal that you're trying to do. And those are some of the premises that I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm going to share a book that I think you guys also should take in consideration. And then I'm also going to be sharing with you who will be speaking at our monthly meeting coming up on July 8th. We got a lot going on. I'm excited, man. I'm excited about what we're doing now, where we're going, and what we're trying to accomplish, right? Because at the end of the day, this is all about building real estate investment business, aspiring to live that life that we all dreamed of, that we got a vision from somewhere, the gods, the God, the ether, your muse, whatever it is, right? We got this vision from something, and now we're chasing it, and now we're trying to put it together to do it. And that's all we're trying to do here, is trying to help individuals come to fruition of living that life, and not feeling like you're doing it alone. I know there's a lot of gurus out there and things of that nature, and that is not what I claim to be. All I claim to be is that I'm a licensed real estate broker. I'm an investor. I'm a developer, and I know I'm still trying to do this, and I'm wanting to speak to others who are trying to do this and see if we can do this together. And if I know a little bit more than you, here's some of the information I have. And if you know a little bit more than me, share that with me, and then we can share that with the world. So if you're an investor and you would like to be on our Beast podcast, please, Beast podcast, please reach out to me. Would love to have you on. You don't need to be a member. We are just trying to educate individuals about what's going on. Last month, we had Bill Webster from Victory Title, the owner, the man, the myth, the legend. He was able to come and speak about his experience, him growing up, him going from 0 to 67 units that he has now, and now he's doing development. So big shout out to Bill for coming and speaking to the group. We have, I have out there on YouTube our meeting where we recorded it. Going next month, it's not going to be live like that. It will be in our school, because obviously people pay to be there, so we can't be releasing and all that to the public. So we will be having that under wraps. So if you want to see the monthly meetings and you can't meet it, you'll be able to see that within school. But things like this, you will have experience too. So like I said, the Tuesday Lunch and Learn, the Wednesday podcast, Beast podcast will be exposed to you as well. And then my weekly and daily videos where I try to share knowledge with you on how to build your real estate business, where my whole premise of I have another bright idea. Is little snippets of of what should help you build your real estate investment business, right? And so that's the whole premise of this. So with that being said, let's get into it. So I have right here right here I already went through one, so we're gonna start this over. But I'm gonna start from the beginning on a deal that I want to showcase with you guys, and just kind of show you what I go through when I'm analyzing deals. So I need to create something else here. Boom, we're gonna go there. I am gonna bring this up. Give me a second here. Want to share. We just changing things up here. We just changing things up. So this is gonna look weird for a moment, but here's your raise the standard. So so what I'm gonna go through. So actually, I've showed you the calculator. So this is the calculator, right? And so what I do when I go through it to do my calculator, this is what it ends up being. So mind me, I got two screens, so if I'm looking away, that's why. So again, the Aspire BCI evaluate real estate deals, issue formal rulings based on risk, returns, and discipline. Capital protection overrides deal enthusiasm, line level protections. And so what do you mean by line level protection is that the line is our lowest beast level in our group, and it's not a knock to anyone. It's just the person that's starting out. They're trying to figure out, they want to figure out what they want to do. They want to analyze deals, and they want to build their real estate investment portfolio. So everything is based on that type of individual because we want to educate from that standpoint moving forward, right? So until you give it enough information until it realize you're at a different level, is just going to assume that you're at the line level. So the council begins with Aspire step A. So let me go through that as before we keep moving forward. So Aspire is an acronym that I helped create, building this calculator out to give people a framework and a system. I felt like it was kind of pointless to bring people together and not have a framework that we can educate individuals on, that we all can relate to, that we all can play off of. This acronym and this system is it's a play on every other person that has a system in place. But I wanted to create something that ties into Aspire, builds everyone around it, and build this calculator around it. So if you gather all the information for each letter, you should be able to analyze every deal that you do. So A is for address asset, right? It's the thing that you are wanting to run the deal on, right? So this is about running the deal. This is about, what you're trying to put together, right? This is, is it a duplex? Is it single family? Is it fix and flip? What are we trying to accomplish? Is it 4 family? Is it multifamily? 5 units or more is commercial. And then it's okay, that's the asset, but then you kind of have to reverse engineer at the beginning as well. And so that's what I try to tell people is like, okay, as you're giving me this information about this property, what do you hope to accomplish, right? Well, I hope this is a BRRRR. I try to share the story with one of my clients who I want to give a big kudos to. He's back in the market. He was going through some stuff, but now he's looking at some more deals. Big shout out to Jonas, my out-of-state investor in California. So one deal that we did together, I brought it to him, and it was from another client who wanted to walk away because they had a set number and they just felt like it was basically 5,000. I'm gonna put it out there, and they wanted to lower price 5,000. The client was like, "No, I can't do that," and I just felt like this was a good deal, and to walk away just because of $5,000, I felt like was wrong. So, and that's the difference between me and I'd say with other real estate agents is that I am truly looking at this from a business perspective, an investment perspective, and in the long run, $5,000, even if it's a 30-year loan, that's probably $10. Right. So are we walking away from a deal that can help change the rest of our lives for $10? Absolutely not. So I took that deal to Jonas and said, hey, here's a fix and flip deal that I believe it is. By the way, if the market shift, here's the analysis as a BRRRR. Well, what ended up happening is that the market shifted on us a little bit. He felt uncomfortable, so we shifted to the BRRRR. He was still able to pull out some of the money. He wasn't able to get everything he would have got of if it was a fix and flip, but he got a nice chunk out of it. I believe he got around 75% of what he invested into it. Was able to wipe out his original hard money loan, get a new loan, and got some of that money back. To me, that's a win. That's what we're trying to do. We want to recycle that capital. And so, but at the beginning of these deal analysis, you got to have some framework so we know how to gauge it, right? Obviously, going through this calculator is going to go to the end, and I'll share with you why things might change, but you should have some framework so we can reverse engineer it. S is seller situation. Some people might not realize knowing the seller situation is really important to the negotiations and the deal that you're trying to put together. If it's a distressed person, right? If it's just a regular person who's selling it, if it's an LLC, if it's the city, if it's the bank, right? All those are different strategies, approaches that you can bring to the table, right? If it's a regular person who has this deal, my very first deal, I bought a 4-unit, and I bought it from a guy who actually was building up his investment portfolio to pass it on to his family. His company was named something and Sons, right? And I had the luxury of meeting him because he had it under contract, but was not able to keep it because not been able to keep it. He had it under contract, but it fell through because the person was trying to buy 2 of his properties and only could close on 1. Well, I had the opportunity to actually speak with him in person and learned of his story. And then what I was sharing with him was that me and my brother was trying to do this together. And I think it resonated with him because he was trying to build it in, kind of pass it off to his sons. And so he felt like that situation, he was able to give it off to someone who he could relate to in a sense of trying to build something for a family. So knowing the seller can make the difference, because sometimes maybe it's not always about that number, and maybe you can't share your story and things like that nature. So understanding who the seller is can have a huge impact on how you get that deal done, right? P is for purchase price. What do they have it on the market, and what your purchase assumption is? What do you think it should be, right? Those are 2 entirely different numbers. Sometimes they can come and be the same number. Most of the times they're not, right? So that's what P is. I is for an investment or improvement, right? Again, most of the deals, I want to say 99% of the deals that we try to get and look at, there's some value add to it because we want to recycle our capital. If you just buy something and you don't do anything to it, the force appreciation is not there, and now our money is just sitting there until enough appreciation happens where we can pull that out. Again, apologize. Our studio's across the street from the airport, so you might be hearing some noise, but I'm not in trouble, and no one's after me. R is revenue. R is what is the return, right? What are we getting with this property? Is it the cash flow, or is it a profit because we're going to be fixing and flipping, right? We have to understand the cash flow, especially if we have to get a DSCR loan because we got to refinance out of our hard money loan, right? So R is always important from that standpoint. And then E is the exit strategy. So with our calculator, we have 5 exit strategy. It's buy and hold, BRRRR, buy, rehab, refinance. No, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, right? That's the second one. Third is fix and flip. Fourth is seller financing or creative seller financing. And then 5 is wholesaling. So those are the 5 outcomes that we can look, right? Can we make the deal happen because it's a buy and hold? Can we make it because it's a BRRRR? Can we make it happen if it's a fix and flip? Is there enough situations there where the only way it works is seller financing? Or can we actually wholesale it, right? So most of the things I look at is on market. So typically when you see me running deals, 9 times out of 10, we're not going to be able to wholesale it because it's already on the market, right? So that is the acronym of Aspire. That's what I built this calculator off of. That's what is supposed to help our members and individuals who are trying to better analyze deals. This is the way to do it. This is how we are trying to educate everyone on how to better analyze deals, what information I need to get, what is very important, and things of that nature. So with that being said, I am going to try to speed through this. I'm gonna pick out a investment that I can find and run the numbers. Before I used to didn't pick deals of things that was on the market, but I kind of changed my tune with that. Hopefully, people don't get mad at me for saying something is overpriced or underpriced or things of that nature, but it is what it is. So, with that being said, let's go here. So, this is not the deal I want. I was looking at a previous one. So this is the deal I'm going to run right now. So again, I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of Wisconsin. So I have access to the MLS. A lot of things are on the books right now about MLS, but until something changed, that's what I like to go to and use and pull the information out. So obviously, this is a duplex that's in this, in the city of Milwaukee. There's three bedrooms, one bath. It's 1,050 square feet. One unit is getting $950 and the other one's 1,050, right? So this is giving me a lot of information that is going to be looking for. Again, most people, when they do these analysis, they're just looking at the price, they're looking at taxes, they're looking at the year built, maybe square footage, and then the rents. But these things are important because this is going to be your property, right? Exterior, brick, garage, alley entrance, basement, full block. All these things coming into play, right? Who's the tax? Taxes include trash collections, right? That's one thing you don't have to worry about. Tenant pays the electric, gas, and heat. Appliances come with this, right? So there are things that I got to deal with and take out. And then I have some information that is shared with me about the property that, that is shared behind the scenes. But this is one of the things I get. So one of the things I do is I pull the documents and data from here and put it into the calculator. Again, because I feel like the calculator, the way I use it is to help me tell a story about this property. I think part of the problem when people are running a deal analysis, they're just trying to plug in numbers. And if the result don't come back the way they think it should, they move on. And I think there's a lot of opportunities that are missed because of that. And there's a lot of opportunities of not understanding why a deal failed or would succeed. So going over here, going to pick one of these out. So I like to do the all photos. This allows me to pull this information out. And so part of what I'm also getting is taxes. Sometimes a lot of things people don't bring up is the taxes. And then you can see where, oh, there was a special assessment a couple of years ago. Like what was done? What happened with that? Now it's starting to come back down, right? So it was 2,000 and then it just stayed up. What was the reason for that? Is there a reason why I can get this down, right? It did jump the assessment right here, as you can see, went from 152 to all of a sudden now it's up to 200,000, right? So that's pretty cool, especially because it's on the market for way less. So I'm letting y'all see a little bit behind the scenes of how I do this. So obviously this is how I break up my deals. I create things. As you can see right here, like I've run deals right here in 2024, right? Because these properties come back on the market. And if I already ran the analysis on it, this is a good way for me to copy of, okay, what would happen when they originally bought it and now they got it on the market 3 years later? What did they do to it? Because if they bought it and now they have it back on the market and you can tell that they did not update anything, but they have it on the market 50,000, 60,000 more in 3 years, like that neighborhood better be an up and coming neighborhood or that's insane, right? So, for example, we just saw that this says that 205, they got on the market at 195. Is that true, right? Are they basing this on the assessment? Because if it is, to me, that's wrong, right? Because we don't buy properties. We buy the future cash flow of that property. Write that down. Write that down, right? Because that's where people, I think, get confused and why I tell people I don't help you buy a property. I help you buy a real estate investment business. It just so happens to be a property, right? This duplex is a property, but it's actually a business, right? And you're not actually buying a property. Why you as an investor is looking at this type of property is because of these two numbers right here, the cash flow, right? You're buying this for the rents. You're not buying it for the building, right? The building just comes with it, and the rents are what this building is producing. And so as an investor, that is what I'm buying. I'm buying those rents and what that future cash flow look like, right? That's why I will pay for this amount. And that's where most agents get wrong is that they compare one duplex down the street that sold for something to this duplex down the street that sold for something. And that's completely wrong. As an investor, I don't look at that. I look at the rents. So if rents at one duplex is $2,000 and rents at another is 1,000, but they're the same square footage, they're the same year built, they're not the same, right? Because one is getting $1,000 more than the other. So why would I pay the same amount of money for the same property when they are not the same? They don't bring in the same cash flow, even though they're in the same area. But that's what a lot of investors and a lot of agents get wrong when analyzing deals of duplexes or lower. They have a retail mentality because they compare a lot of things a lot of the times. So now that I have the MLS, I am going to get a CMA. So I'm going to gather the CMA from this property so that I can try to get an accurate ARV of the building. So I only got 6. I don't think that's enough. So I'm going to expand this out. I'm going to go a half a mile and see if I can get some more properties. So I got 14. I think that's good. So I'm going to go into details. I'm going to see the properties that are there. So just because something's on the market doesn't mean that's the ARV of that area, right? We want things that were closed or pending. So right now this is pending at 269. So, and this is in the area. So that's a good sign for me, right? So we got 250, 250, 228, 219, 210, 244, 260. So our property's at 195, so that might be a good sign, right? Depending on how much money we have to put into it, based on it, especially because, like I said, we want to BRRRR. There's no reason for us to buy anything that we can't BRRRR because we want to recycle the capital we're putting in. Now, if you're house hacking, that might be a little bit different of a strategy. You don't necessarily need to put everything in there. If you're using the FHA or a conventional loan of 5%, that's going to change certain things with our approach. I talk to those clients a little bit differently. I'm currently right now got a client under contract with an FHA loan. They're buying a duplex, and that strategy is similar, but it might take a little bit longer, right? Most of the times, if you're using hard money, you got 4 to 6 months to do what you need to do, refinance and get out of it. When you're house hacking, you typically got, I would say 12 to 18 months that you have to be in a property. So if there's things you can do over that time to force appreciation that home, that's amazing. That's awesome. You want to get out of it. Sometimes it'd be like, hey, I'm just going to buy something, do what I can. I know I won't be able to pull that much out, but I can refinance out of the FHA loan and then use the FHA to go get the next property. So like my strategy with those individuals with that, we talk differently than someone who's saying, hey, I'm trying to scale as quick as possible. These are the things that I want to do, right? So next step is that I'm going to get this as a CMA. Again, you got to pull your data the way you can. Because I have this access, this is the reason why I'm pulling the data this way. You might have to use Zillow, you might have to use rent.com or realtors.com, or you might have your agent say, hey, can you pull a CMA on me on these on this property, right? So I have a little bit different access than some people, but this is the information. So I'm pulling it. So I pull the CMA to be more statistical because I am looking at it from a buyer standpoint, right? It's more about the numbers. So I'm going to save this as my CMA. So I have that now. So another report that I like pulling is from the RPR. This is a Realtor's Property Resource. Again, this is another tool that I have because I'm a licensed broker and have access to this. I know there's other things out there like Deal Machine that you can use to better give you information about certain properties. Obviously, everything that I have is more for things that are on the market that recently sold. Sometimes when things haven't been on the market for 20 plus years, it's kind of hard for me to find some of that data. I do have access to some of those things, but just to let you know that finding some of that information can be a little bit difficult. All right, so there we go. Here's that property. Apologize for the noise in the back, but we're gonna get through it. So we're gonna run the CMA for here too, but this is gonna be a bigger report. I just like running the CMA just because, like, gathering information from multiple sources is always good. So I have to go back to this one. So this is 3-1. So there's some of the information is not there. So I'm gonna have to put that in there. So there's 6, 2 baths. How many rooms? We got 12 rooms. So we're gonna put 12 rooms. Living area. We're gonna take this, put that in the living area. Oh, that's just too much. Was that it? 2128. 2128. Yeah, 2128. All right. I know that's going to be a little bit wrong, but we're just putting that information in there. So we got that. So now we can confirm. Now we have that. Now we can actually look at the comps. I'm going to go back the last 6 months. I'm going to go within a mile radius. I'm going to put 6. I'm going to put 4, 2, 2. I'm going to keep the same living square footage area so it's more relatable. You see now, this pulled out a little bit more information. It was 14. This is way more than 14. So I want to try to gather as much, again, as information. This was in a mile radius. The other one was a half a mile. So again, just more information allows you to be more accurate. This is not about analysis paralysis. This is more, that's just an outlier. That 30,000, that's a fix and flip opportunity. I think that is just going to bring down the numbers. And everyone has their reasons, right? Someone will be like, hey, I'm including that because that's a fix and flip opportunity. I want that on my radar. When I'm running my numbers like this, I want things that are more relatable. And I just feel like me pulling a $30,000 property is just going to really bring down my numbers and offset it, especially when I'm looking for the ARV when, that 30,000 property should be getting fixed on. And probably is going to be a higher property. So what I would look at from that standpoint is, hey, there's a $30,000 property that recently sold, right? This was sold, and someone's fixing it up. So if someone else is fixing up, this might be a great opportunity to be able to get mine started work on and getting fixed up. So mine will get done after theirs will be getting done since they already, sold it. So they should be working on it right now. My property should be getting better or, will come after theirs. So then I can piggyback off of whatever success they are. So seeing other people buying in the area they're looking at is always a great telltale about how the ARV can be and what's happening in that area, in that market. So got a decent amount. I got 117 to 366. That's huge, right? Because what we were looking at, I think the most was a 286. So again, this was in a mile radius. I know what I pulled before was just a half mile. So this is just encompassing a little bit more of an area. I feel like a lot of the properties that I picked was still within that half a mile. Maybe it's, 75, over a quarter mile, things of that nature. But see, now we have an average of 238. They're talking about 195. If I have to put 50,000 in there, might not work. So I have kind of a template already set up. It's going to give me a lot more information. I call mine as evaluation report. Again, this is going to be 49 pages. It just details, it gives me market trends. It gives me market activity, give me a little bit more stuff than what the CMA does. And that's why it's called the real estate portfolio. Realtor property resource. So now, right, pages 1 to 121. So it just gives me way more information, right? It's giving me this information. It's going to give me property information. It's giving me market trends, right? It's going to go in there and give me active, pending, sold, months of supply. So it's going to give me all that information that necessarily I'm not getting from the CMA. It's also going to give me market activity. So it's a report that, again, it tells more of a story. So that's why I like using this one. So it's going to be a little second while this is downloading. So while that's downloading, I'm going to go to my last report that I like to use, and that's the report. Oops. So I got to go back here. It's going to give me that. I'm going to say 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. I like to do all just because it it just gives you an encompass of what's in the area, what's going on, and a good average. Because if I improve this property, somebody might pay me not as much as a single family house, but roughly close to it. And then you can always check, right? It's 14. Is it a big change if I just make this an apartment? Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna change it to an apartment. So this is what I can get in the area. I think you probably get a little bit more, but let's just go with this to make it simple. Um, so it's going to generate the report, right? It got 20 3-bedroom single bath apartments rentals within a 3-mile radius. Again, now this is 3 miles, so now this is a larger encompass of that, right? It shows you where everything is, and this is the areas doing. So there's definitely areas that are farther away that is probably getting a higher percentage, and we have to take some of that into consideration when we're putting this all together. So let's download this. And this is going to be my rental report. Again, you get to see behind the scenes of how I run analysis and use the tools and things of that nature, and how, some of this stuff is still manual, right? Obviously, everyone is trying to do more AI things and things of that nature now. Who says you can't have a Claude agent pull some of this stuff going into these things and do that information, which is quite possible. But right now I have to do it. But again, this is a great way of you better understanding what you need to do, reading through that data, better understanding your market. I think one of the things why I like doing it this way is it just truly does help me better understand my market. All right, with that being said, now let's get back to that. Where are you? Sorry. I'm looking for there we go. So now we're just going to go through this whole process. So I am going to use this. So technically that's where this is. Okay. So we're going to use this. This is helping me run this a little bit better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the first MLS. Then I'm going to talk to it. Please use this document to get all the information you need for A, stop, and then wait for me to give you the information. Correct. Please use this for A and S, since that it has all the information about the property, the things on the market, and the tax sheet is with it. So you will also learn about the seller situation as well, by who owns it. And then stop there and let's go to PE. So it's running in on the background. I'm using the MLS sheet for that. It's going to pull the information. It gave me all this stuff, right? It's address, duplex, 2 units, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Give me the size, the year built, detached car garage, full block. Give me the lot size. Both units are occupied. Here are the rents. Here's the listing price. Days on the market. It's 5. So it already tells you we have value add potential, right? Those are the deals we want. So this already helps us know that this is a good deal. AMP Service LLC, right? That's the owner. That already lets me know it's an LLC. So this is potential another investor, or what I like to say a lot of the times, hobby investors, right? People who, kind of running a business, right? And that's part of the service that I bring to my clients, is that from day one, I want them to understand that, you're not buying a property, you're buying a business. It just so happens to be this duplex. But as soon as day one, you're dealing with tenants, you're getting cash flow coming in, things of that nature. Or day one, you're buying it. Now you got to do things to the property to prove it, right? That's a business. You got to be on a timeline. You got to be doing all these things that if you just bought a property, it's just about, hey, let me move in, right? And most properties are liabilities, because as I say, even your home that you own, if you got equity, it ain't real until you use it. So every month you're losing money. So that's a liability and not an asset. I'm going to get a lot of backlash from that. All right, so P. So let's P. I'm going to use the other report. I'm going to use a buyer report now. So it's 101. So as it's learning the thing, so please use this report for P. Pull the data from it. Understand some of the market trends, market activity is going on to help articulate what the price should be, help with deciding with the ARV. Please understand that this is a larger scale of the area, which is in a mile radius, but summarize everything from that standpoint to help better understand P. Stop there and then go to I and wait for me to give you more documentation for I. So again, now this might take a little bit longer because again, it's 101 pages, but that's what AI is for, right? It's sharing that information. So this is the important stuff that I like, right? We got the automated CMA estimated. That's from the resource, right? 238,000 estimated ranges from 117, 366. That's what I did, right? This is a seller leaning environment. So this is again why I love this calculator and the reports that it's pulled. It's giving me way more information. It's summarizing it for me. It's saying there's 3 months of inventory, 99% sold to list ratio, and a median 14 days on market, right? So this might be letting me know this property is probably could be priced right where someone's going to jump on it based on the things that is going for it, right? So if someone wants to overpay for it and they buy it at that price, this could get accepted offer because it's been on the market 5 days, right? So anything that's over 14 days, I can assume that it's priced wrong for this market. That's huge of understanding that. So that helps you better negotiate and analyze. Like I said, analyzing it ain't just about plugging in the numbers and thinking this is the result. Because if you look at a property and it's just hit the market and you want to go 40,000 less, the seller might, won't even consider it. But let it be 90 days off the market, maybe the seller will consider it. All right, so it's giving us that MLS ask, they're giving me the CMA reference, giving me 238, right? So right now we're basing our, aggressive ARV is 235 to 245, right? So being at 195, now it is really important of understanding where the rehab budget will be, right? Because if we're picking two right here, like if we stretch case is 240, so they said 225 to 235, so that's the conservative. So if we shoot for 225 to 235, let's say 230, you're at 195. What room do we have there to ensure that we can put enough money in there, raise rents, right? Because one rent is $100 less. I believe where they are, we do have room to get more based on the rental income, which will show again. So we're at I. So what I'm going to do, because I believe there is not any pictures. So because there's not any pictures, this is what I'm going to say. Due to there not being any pictures, not understanding the true state of the property, let's do a moderate rehab, run the estimates based off of that, and the typical improvements that you're doing to property, break those things down just in assumption of the age of the property and what probably needs to be done. And for the simple fact that when an agent doesn't take pictures of the interior, some things are up. Even if there's tenants in there, if it's maintained well, agents like to show those properties. So let's assume that this is a moderate rehab based on those conditions. Now, I gave it a little bit more information, but I wanted you to understand why I was assuming this. And then again, this is helping the calculator learn more, right? And that's ultimately what I wanted to do. And that's why I'm giving this information. So if I ever give it some information with pictures and they see that none of the pictures show inside, it's going to start understanding like, okay, let's naturally assume that we need a moderate rehab because there's no pictures. Right. So this is what a moderate rehab look. Again, this is the things that you need to know when you're a new investor coming into. What is the typical cost, right? These are typical costs. So now you can call that painter, You can call that floor guy. You can call the contractor about kitchen. You can call the plumber, right? We can call all these people and have a summary of what I think it might cost to fix these things. So this is the estimated direct rehab is 56,000. They're always going to be a contingency, so we got an extra 8,000. So full rehab is going to be 64,000. This is important because this is going to really help us understand what we need to put together to put a true offer to purchase, right? I just had a video that I put. I never lowball an offer. I never say that. I never tell I'm writing in. I'm never one of those people that like, I'm just unnaturally going to take 20% off or whatever. Like I don't do those things. I actually run the deal, to run the analysis because I don't want to just randomly throwing numbers out there. When you just randomly throw numbers, you are lowballing, right? I try to present a case on why this works this way, because then that gives them an opportunity to prove me wrong. And if they don't want to prove me wrong, then we can just go our separate ways. And then I can say, hey, you're irrational because you don't have a reasoning for why you're pricing it that way. And if the only reason why you're pricing that way is because the other duplex down the street sold at their number, that is not strategy. That is just, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is because that's not being an investor. An investor is number driven. They're not emotional driven. And so that's what we're building here. We're building a number case so that we can present it to that client, that agent, and say, hey, this is why we're putting this way. Because right now, 65,000 based off of 195, we're at 255. We're already over our ARV. That number can't be right. Now, if I present them and say, hey, I think I got to put 65,000 in this home, I can't buy this at 195. I got to buy this at something lower so I can do all these things. They'll be like, well, you don't need to do all that work. All right, tell me where I don't need to do that work, right? Because I think this is where I need to do on all these things. Am I correct or wrong? If they say, no, you're wrong, and these are the reasons why. Awesome. That's what I want to hear, right? That's, prove me wrong so that we can get to the right number so we can get the deal, because I want to get that property off your hands, right? That's, I think, where a lot of people get confused. Like they think there's contention where there doesn't be contention. I've run that with a lot of agents. A lot of agents get upset when I do write some of these offers and it's less than what they put on the market. And so now they feel like, oh, you're challenging my authority because I told them it's worth this. And now you're coming over here and telling me you're only willing to pay this. Now I look the fool. And it's like, well, you are. Joking. All right, we're at the R. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put the rental report in here. Please run the rental report for R. Update, give us our analysis, and then wait to go to, and then go to E and sit. We're getting there. We're getting in there. We're almost. All right. So now it's bringing it up, right? We said initial rents are $950, and one is $1,050. So right now we're seeing from 1,029 all the way up to 1,327. Current rents. So this is what it can be in the future, right? There's an upside of $300. Is that worth 65,000? I don't know. Just to increase it $300 might not be what we're looking for. Plus putting it at 195, but that's what we're trying to figure out, right? So current income 2,000, bringing in 24,000. Well, if we stabilize it at the new one, we're going to be bringing around 27,000. We got to take out the vacancy reserve, and then this is approximately 2,600 of our gross income. Right, revenue upside exists without requiring premium market rents. The exiting leases appear below pre-value marketing indicators, which plays into it as a value add opportunity, right? So if we're doing a 1% rule, it kind of makes sense at the new one, right? Because we can do 2,300, you divide that by 0.01%, or you divide that by 1%, that's 230,000. If that was the 1% rule that still make it, that makes sense, right? So now that we have that in there, I'm going to use the last one, the CMA. Use this document to help with the exit strategy. Don't change numbers unless it really solidifies it. but just use it as a confirmation with the information that we already got with the CMA to make sure the ARV is what it could be, and correlate any of the properties that we have on this sheet with the previous sheet to ensure that we are either adding properties to it or we're confirming the ones we have and not necessarily changing the true value because this one might be less. Again, I like this because I'm just not typing in numbers. We're writing a story. We're putting everything together. Like, see, right? See, the average sold price on that one was 210. The one I had was 233. Now we're bringing it together, saying, okay, where are we at, right? So now I feel comfortable saying, hey, we're between 210. It maybe did the 235, right? Then basically on the 1% of it being of the new rents is 230. I feel comfortable around this, right? This it just confirms that nature, right? And so it is pulling some things. There is some higher stuff. So the 225 to 240 range just seems right. Um, the is around 238. So like it's just, again, I'm using both of these because the more data we have, the better we can make our argument, right? We can better establish what the deal is for us and how we can move forward with it, right? So the exit strategy, use the current assumptions, purchase price is 195, C500, moderate rehab, stabilized rent, conservative ARV, buy and hold, BRRRR, creative financing, flip, and then wholesaling. Council finds a supplement CM confirmed rather than changes the existing valuation. The prudent underwriting posture remains. Right? So investor client will be using hard money. They will be using for the rehab, 4 points for down payment, the 14 interest rate, annual percentage interest rate, holding it for, let's say, the whole 6 months because we got to move out the tenants and then fix it up and then reposition it with newer tenants. Put that information in there and then finally give me the Aspire Beast Council verdict. So now I'm giving it the whole picture. Now we can have a full story, right? So now we know the financing, we know down payment, we know interest rate, we know long-term assumption of a hold, because we're going to BRRRR and we're going to get it out of it. We're going to DSCR loan it. That's what I need to put in here. Rerun it. New DSCR loan at, let's say, 8 interest rate, 8% with 15% down payment, equity. So we're going to rerun it with that so we can get the full picture, because obviously we're going to use the hard money and then we got to get out of it. So this is going to give us a good thing. So we're almost done. We're almost there. So now we're running 14%, 6 months holding period, and then exit, reposition with stabilized rents and refinance into a DSCR loan with 18%, targeting 15% equity down payment, right? So it's going through a purchase price, working ARV, 225 to 235, moderate 65, total cost base before, stabilized rent 2,300, gross annual rent 2,700. The effective gross rent is going to be 26,000. Hard money interest is about 18,000 to hold it for those 6 months. Loan points, this is typically what we need to put down of that. So this is going to be a little bit larger because it didn't incorporate that we'll be getting the loan into this as well. Finance rate. So this is all in BRRRR at a stabilized rent of 2,300. Financing's operational, but is unlikely to return most invested capital without acquiring below list, reducing rehab materially, or achieve stronger value. So it's telling you this is a deal. You're just not going to pull out any of your money. If you're okay with that, then you should move forward with this deal, right? Because then this is what it's saying. Buy and hold doesn't remain strong in your strategy because existing rents are below conservative. Duplex has income potential and appreciation, right? So it's saying to buy and hold. If you're not trying to burr it, it's a great deal. It's because you're trying to burr it is what makes this a no-go, right? That's the reason why it's a no-go, is because it doesn't have the ability to refinance out of it, and you're going to be stuck with capital because at the current price. As we go through it, is going to tell us, all right, what it supports is we got strong documentation, right? I got a lot of information, so we're not just randomly pulling numbers out of nowhere. We're getting these numbers from the market and things that we have. The equity creation at the proposed purchase price is what's flagging, right? It's wiped out because if you're telling me the ARV is 235 or 245 and we buy it at 195 and put 65 in it, we're already at 260. We're over it. We're kind of over leveraged. This is where I feel like the calculator really comes into play, because anything that's 70 or above, it's a great deal. So right here, saying for us to be 80, which makes it a really good deal, you need to buy this at 155 or 165. So we need to be 30,000 less than what we are right now. If we can reduce the rehab, maybe we don't need all that stuff. Maybe there's some other things in there because we haven't seen this property. Or can we prove that we can get this up to 280, right? If we can do that, that works. So here's the maximum offer, plus rehab before 200,000. So everything has to be for 200,000 or it doesn't work, right? So I got to buy it, I got to rehab it, and do my holding costs where it's no more than 200,000. If I can get it at that deal works. And so this is where I'm gonna end it off this one, and then we'll be done. And this is why I love this calculator. Please write an email to the listing agent of a letter of intent of our wanting to look at this as a possible deal. Please write it at 245 and let them know why we are putting it 245, because of all the information that we have presented in a way so that they understand that we're not trying to present a low ball offer, but what the maximal acceptable offer is for the strategy that we're doing. If they feel like this is incorrect, please tell us where we are wrong. If the ARV they feel like is too low, or if they say the rehab budget is too much, please let us know where we can make our changes. And let them know what could be next steps if we wanted to move forward with this. Also put in there that this is based on online information. We have not seen the property in person, but so this letter of intent is based off of only not seeing the property, and once we see it, some of these things could change. 4 minutes over. The problem is I'm finna be done. This is the last thing I want to do. I just want to show the importance of this calculator and what it all does and what it provides, right? So now what was been holding me back a lot with my previous work was that I didn't know the letter or the document that I need to put, right? I don't always need to write an offer to purchase. Sometimes it's just sending an email out, and then it was like, how do I word it? How do I put those things together? Well, this calculator does all that for you, right? After reviewing the available product, public information, tax return, rental data, and comparable sales and market information, our investment group would like to express our interest in the property and submit a preliminary letter of intent, right? So this is an LOI, support in person. Our current underwriting supports a purchase price of $245. That is incorrect. So these are the things you got to make sure you're correct, right? But at the end of the day, again, this is so useful. Again, I just got to change that. This is so useful when you're trying to put something together and putting more opportunities out there, right? I've been putting more opportunities out there because of this tool right now and all the information I gain. But I always say, as AI, you always got to correct your stuff and make sure that it is functioning properly. Woo! All right. With that being said, want to let you guys know about our meeting next month, July 8th. We Funded by Design is the theme. We have Richard Helpy Schmeider. I hope I said that right. Schmeider speaking. He's the founder of Bird Dog Wolf. It's an AI tool that helps investors find deals using the AI. where it from what he shared with me, it kind of goes through your market. It looks at certain the pictures on there, and it based the offer on the pictures on there, so that again, his I would say his tool kind of fits what we're trying to accomplish, and that's why he's speaking at our next meeting. So a big shout out to Richard for speaking. He's out of Texas. He has a partner, I believe, that's in Denver, Colorado. We spoke recently. I don't want to mess too much stuff up, but he's someone who's doing 40 flips a year. He has 40 plus rental units, and he's an AI app developer, and he'll be speaking in our next meeting. So big shout out to Richard. So please, if you want to be a part of that and join, please sign up and come to our next meeting. He will be speaking virtually. So if you can't, please sign up from that standpoint. Reach out to me. So yeah, that will be happening July 8th, 2026 here at the Next Home My Way headquarters, 5151 South Howell Avenue. 5:30 to 7:30. First 30 minutes is us getting to know each other. Everything starts around 6. We go about 7, and then we have a little after party from 7 to 7:30. All right. Thank you again for joining me. Again, Aspire is it's a system to help you put things in place. A is for address, S is for seller situation, P is for purchase price or assumption, I is for improvement or investment, R is for revenue, and E is for exit strategy. Again, use this to help you better understand how to run a deal analysis. And if you need more assistance, please reach out to us. Our school is ready and waiting for you. We have the 90-day cohort. We have the Beast podcast tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Again, just wanting to help educate you individuals on how to run a real estate investment business. So thank you again. I'm Charles Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another bright idea